Welcome to Creature Guy Live. We're going to dive into some elephants before we hit the articles, and then afterwards, we're going to dive into different animal news from around the world. So, thanks for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Let's put up the first set of videos. Looks like it's probably taking place during some time of the dry season. Right now, it's the wet season over in sub Saharan Africa. So, different savanna ecosystems, like you're over in different parts of Kenya, Nigeria, Mozambique.
I thought it was just morning stretching.
Oh, well, that too in this instance. He seems to be a very athletic bull. I'm guessing in this instance he's either trying to break a whole branch or what I was thinking of was certain other trees where elephants will extract different species of fruit from. But in this instance, he seems to be just wanting to tear down the tree. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Great Plains. Oh, okay. So it's at the Old Danyo Lodge in Chulu's Hills, Kenya. I'm not exactly sure where this is occurring. That seems to be a pretty healthy bull, and he's definitely going through a period of must. I really hope he doesn't stab that impala.
No, he just lightly kicked him in the butt.
Yeah, he's being rude, but he's quite gentle with it. And impala really doesn't care. Either he's that confident or he's injured. It's- That's a bit odd. It's funny how the bull just makes it out like he didn't do anything.
Don't look at me.
It seems to be moving fine. I think that's a fence. I wonder if this is around like a certain camp and maybe the impala just feels safe around it. Oh, this could be somewhere over in India, and like normal, the elephants have the right to steal food from the trucks. Like, I think the law is you have to let them take whatever they want. Hmm. This one's not getting any access.
Oh, maybe he's just walking around.
I think it's a young bull. He just doesn't seem to have gotten his tusks in yet. There's somewhere around 20,000 to 30,000 elephants in uh, throughout the small areas of India. There's quite a few different populations over in the southern part of the state, and they do inhabit different types of ecosystems. Like if you're over in southern India, you're going to bump into a lot of quite dry, well, especially during the dry season, scrub forest. And then as you head towards the northern regions of the country, like the bottom hills of the Himalayas, there's a lot of seasonal flood grasslands in the region where they focus on feeding on different types of vegetation, especially different types of seasonal flood grasses in the region. Very similar to the rhinos in the region that feed on similar food sources, though the elephants tend to feed on more fruits. They'll go after different species of bushes too, or shrubs. Okay, so let's head on to the first article from the newindianexpress.com. 4 years after flood rescue, two rhino calves moved to Kazaringa for release. The CWRC, I'm not sure what that is, has rescued and handled over 7,397 animals across 357 species to date, with approximately 4,490 or 65% successfully released after treatment. Hmm. Well, here is the release of one of the, what, two rhinos? Yeah. So it's a greater one-horned rhino. These animals can reach over, um, 10,000 pounds or a little over 4,000 kilograms. So spent under intensive care at the CWRC for 4 years. So two flood rescued male rhino calves were on Tuesday translocated from the Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation and Conservation. Wow, that's a lot of animals that they've taken care of. I thought this was some massive organization. At least I don't think it is, but that's immense. Almost what, 8,000 animals?
Floppy Rabbit said, "What's on the menu today?"
Uh, well, I mean, for the tigers in the area, we've got some rhino ribs. To a pre-release enclosure at Kaziringa National Park in Assam, marking a crucial step towards a return to the wild. I don't know the population of tigers over in this region, but I'm pretty sure there are tigers over in Kaziringa National Park, as well as possibly dholes. So the relative African painted dogs within this region. They're not very large, but they definitely make up for it in their numbers. I think they get to somewhere around 20 to 30 pounds or a little over 12 kilograms. The calves had been under intensive care at the CWRC for over 4 years. When rescued during floods, they were aged about 4 to 6 weeks, so they were pretty young at that point. According to the CWRC, the park authorities followed internationally and accepted conservation translocation protocols. And they're definitely a lot smaller too. They probably didn't weigh much more than, I mean, what, 4 to 6 weeks. And we don't know if they were under.
They didn't weigh much more than 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, I should have just mentioned the weight. I'm guessing they were somewhere around 4 to 500 pounds at that point, or a little over 200 kilograms. And I'm also saying that because they were probably underweight if they hadn't been with their mother for a period of time. Definitely severely dehydrated. So let's see. After obtaining the requisite permissions from the chief wildlife warden Assam under the Wildlife Protection Act, a site selection committee was constituted to identify locations ideally suited for pre-release enclosures. Thereafter, the rhinos were moved to a pre-release enclosure where they would be habituated to living under wild conditions before their final release to roam freely in the park. Dr. Bhaskar Chowdhury, center in charge, CWRC, told this newspaper that the calves would be released into the wild after about 2 months. Immediately? Whoa. Okay, that's a little too soon. I was going to
At
guess
about 3 years old, you should let your kid just take off.
at 3. This is like can't even move. Okay, well, the rhinos can, but for a child. Um, yeah, I was guessing 3 years. So, let's take a deeper look. The translocation operation was overseen by a team of veterinarians, Kaziringa National Park officials, led by Field Director Dr. Sonali Ghosh, along with subject matter experts Dr. Rathan Barman, Kashwik Barwa, and Dr. Anupam Sarma, accompanied and supervised various aspects of the operation. This rhino transfer is a testimony to the scientific management and established rehabilitation protocols being followed in Kazringa, where every wild animal, especially the iconic greater one horned rhinoceros, is given a chance to return to its natural home in the wild, even after experiencing severe stress due to calamities such as floods. Calamities. Um, yeah, that's insane. Within like a few weeks, they would be just sent back out. But luckily, they stayed there for a few years as they should. The CWRC was established in 2002 as a collaborative initiative among Assam's Forest Department, Wildlife Trust of India, and the International Fund for Animal Welfare. Its primary role involves rescuing flood distressed and orphaned wild animals, especially in Kazringa, providing emergency care, hand raising them, and rehabilitating fit individuals back into the wild. So, Kazringa also, since this is a greater one-horned rhino rescue, is probably or is situated somewhere in the northern part of India within the seasonal grass floodland ecosystems, which you don't find the greater one-horned rhinos anywhere else, and they're only located in India as well. So let's see, is there anything else? That's it. Well, that's good to hear with those, 2 individuals. Hopefully, they do well, they're able to breed, and, the rhinos aren't a problem, not the rhinos, well, other male rhinos too, but I was gonna say the tigers aren't a problem for them. Usually, tigers just prey on the calves, but let's see. How big was this guy? Ah, okay. Unless this was an earlier photo. Um, that's not a big individual. A tiger could kill that thing. Oh well. Let's hopefully they're able to breed. Let's go on to the next article. So from usatoday.com, trail camera captures two-legged bear in West Virginia. Let's see. I've heard of these guys pop up a couple of times, but the one I'm thinking of was years back. So let's see if this is another individual. A black bear with only two legs was sighted in the mountains of West Virginia. Kirk Price, an outdoorsman based in West Virginia, told USA Today Monday that his trail camera spotted the two legged animal in the Appalachian Mountains in southwest West Virginia. Price, who shared videos and images of the two legged bear captured by his trail camera on Instagram, said he believes the bear to be an approximately 8-year-old male. Okay, so it's not exactly an old individual, but it's not the youngest bruiser on the block. Price said he first found out about the bear in 2018, and the animal was smaller then and has almost doubled in size since originally spotted. Oh, is this the same one? 2018. I mean, that's when he first originally saw it. Wow. That animal's still walking around. At that point, he was already walking around by himself and was not a cub. Cub usually stays with their mother until close to 2 years old. Wow. Um, this guy, well, at least by that photo, he it's almost done. He seems quite thin. But I guess that was earlier on. So all of these are 2024. Now it could be sometime in the spring. That's the
God, he's
fall though.
thin.
Yeah, that's September.
So he really only does have 2 legs.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that his spine um is able to adapt to it. Quite interesting.
I would be worried about him, though, with other bears.
He probably avoids them and he probably scares them with that type of a just overall mobility. So let's see. I mean, the fact that he's still able to get around, that's pretty fascinating. Price said while he's only seen the bear once in person, he and several others have seen the animal multiple times on trail camera photos and videos over the years. He's very elusive, so yeah, I would expect him to be quite secretive and is rarely spotted in person. He lives in the mountains, believe it or not. He moves around quite a bit. He has roughly a 5-mile radius. Also, in the forest he was walking and didn't seem too healthy. Quite a few of West Virginia's forests are quite overstoried, or it's just too many trees in a specific area. But you're probably different regions where he's able to obtain like different species of fruit. It's probably feeding, especially in the fall, different species of nuts. But during the summer, probably focusing on a lot of different species of insects. I doubt, unless it's injured or already dead, he's going after deer or deer fawns because he's just not able to with two legs. So I wouldn't doubt also occasionally he's going after garbage. So let's see. Also, if you don't know where West Virginia is, it's just south of New York State, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. So, in a 2022 video posted to YouTube, Price spoke about his experience of witnessing a two legged bear live and said when he got up close to the bear, the animal had clean nums, making him believe it was born that way. Price, who was with his dogs in the area, said the bear looked healthy and ran up the hill after he got his dogs away from the animal. It has the ability to run? I wonder if it's just like a quick paced walk. The bear had not been given a name by those who have seen him, and Price said they normally just refer to him as a two legged bear. The rare find is reminiscent of a two legged bear named Petals, who was spotted many times in New Jersey before he was believed to have been killed during a hunt in 2016. Oh, maybe that's the individual I'm thinking of. That's too bad. While many users on Price's Instagram posts speculated that the bear's lack of front legs are the doing of a hunter, Price says he firmly believes the bear was born with only two hind legs and the absence of his front legs is not because of any external factors. Yeah, it is a possibility. It was just a not fully formed bear, but quite freaky that it occurred. I firmly believe he was born that way and has overcome all odds. That's what the focus should be on. This bear is truly amazing. And oh, Price further said that hunters should not be suspected to be the bad guy in the story. Price said that while he himself is a hunter and hunts bears and eats them regularly, he is also a firm believer in conservation and loves seeing them thrive on the landscape.
I
Well,
still can't believe people actually eat bear.
I mean, they've done it like for thousands of years. Well, it's not surprising. Also, I've heard that when it comes to especially harvesting one in the fall, when they've been feeding on quite a few different species of berries, it tastes quite sweet.
I just meant it's just shocking to me when I see a bear and the idea of people eating them is just really? Huh. They don't
Um,
look like food to me.
I think it's also because, especially in recent times, we've grown up with things like Yogi Bear, Bear in the Big Blue House, so it doesn't really make you want to utilize it in that way.
No, I just like looking at I don't think a ferret looks like food either.
Well, I guess Theodore Roosevelt and the teddy bear too. Um,
Uh,
that's where the teddy bear comes from.
oh, okay.
So, this particular bear is special, and I would never purposely hunt him. So, USA Today has reached out to the West Virginia Department of National Resources for more information about sightings of the animal, and it doesn't look like there was anything else. Um, yeah,
So Smokey
also,
the Bear may be good with barbecue sauce.
I forgot about him too. Yeah, well, he was actually a
Your
black.
facial expression on that was hilarious.
He was actually a black bear originally from New Mexico, like a black bear cub, and somehow he got turned into a brown bear. Um, but yeah, what's the other thing? Yeah, I mean, it hurts. Like even when you have, let's say, a stuffed teddy bear, and you're having a dog. Well, you're playing with the dog, and he's ripping it apart. It's like, oh, but I think it's because you think of a cub, and you're just like, this is wrong. So, um, let's head to, I guess, the next video. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I think this is over. Okay, this is also over in the floodlands
He's
of India.
he's like, I'm getting down. Another one?
That's interesting. Elephants are quite quiet now. They're walking through elephant grass, which I would think they would be making a lot of noise, but maybe it's the wet season. Though looking at some of the grass, seems quite dry. It
Well,
might have been. It might have suppressed their steps a bit.
I also have it muted, so
I think it's quite interesting though. They didn't smell him, or they just don't seem to care. Usually, even a tiger spooks elephants.
3 of them.
Yeah, they're very sensitive. Though there weren't any calves with them, so
Hey, he's
maybe
like, "Is
that's
there
why
a
they
baby
were
coming?"
more confident. Oh, okay, there was one. He must not be able to hear them. Nice. I wonder if this was in Kazringa National Park. Okay, what's going on here? Are they kind of stuck in this small area? Well, he's not.
Not for long, yeah.
That's
Okay, I just thought that was hilarious when I saw that, so
is a very intelligent calf.
the other ones are going, "How do they do that?"
Almost like he was practicing. Yeah, I hope that cow survives and he makes it to a larger home. Okay, heading back in time. So from Sci News, new species of dome-headed dinosaur identified in Montana. Paleontologists have described a new genus and species of Pachycephalosaurid dinosaur from 5 fossil specimens found in the late Cretaceous 2 Medicine Formation of Montana, the United States. Well, this is really good to hear. Considering Pachycephalosaurs, there aren't many species of them. I think in total are somewhere between 16 to 18 different species of Pachycephalosaur. So, looks like we're traveling back in time to at least what 70 million years ago. The new dinosaur species in North America during the late Cretaceous epoch, some 75 million years ago. Oh, okay, so it's a bit earlier in time. So this is during the late Campanian stage of the Cretaceous. So you have a wide range of different species of ankylosaurs, hadrosaurs, different species of dromaeosaurs and tyrannosaurs existing at this point. certain species of sauropod elsewhere, as well as like different species of carnosaur. But in this instance, it seems like we have a species of pachycephalosaur, which, for those of you that don't know, the pachycephalosaurs are a group of dinosaurs that are actually quite closely related to the ceratopsians or the horned dinosaurs, such as Triceratops and Torosaurus. The Pachycephalosaurs consists of animals such as Pachycephalosaurus and let's see, Homocephaly. Now, this animal looking at the overall skull structure, looks very similar to a pachycephalosaur called Stegosaurus, which was not a very large individual. The Pachycephalosaurus never became too large in general, but Stegosaurus was somewhere around, I think, 6 to 7 feet in length, or pushing around 2 meters, and weighing maybe around 80 to 110 pounds, or a little over 40 kilograms. And it looks like, for the most part, they were quite carnivorous. It used to be assumed that pachycephalosaurs were herbivorous or feeding on a wide variety of plants. But more recent analysis has shown that it looks like these animals were not capable of chewing through hard, tough plants. Maybe they were feeding on fruit, but definitely it looks like meat of certain sorts. So, dubbed Bronthulus harmoni, the ancient herbivore was approximately 3 meters or 10 feet in length. This is a larger species of Pachycephalosaur. So I'm guessing this individual probably weighed somewhere around um, 2 to 400 pounds, or a little over 150 kilograms. It belongs to Pachycephalosauridae, a family of bipedal dome-headed dinosaurs within the ornithischian clade Pachycephalosauridae. The dome-headed ornithischian clade Pachycephalosauridae possesses a distinctive suit of morphological features. They include a bipedal gait and heterodont dentition, ossified myosepta in the tail, together with their iconic thickened frontoparietal domes and ornamented skulls. So it's basically showing a or describing just the complex structure of their neck as well as their skull. Now, what is interesting is, like the Stegosaurus, in this individual, it doesn't seem to be showing really any much of a horn structure, which the larger you increase in size when it comes to pachycephalosaurs, it seems, the more horn structures you see around their dome. Whereas the smaller individuals like Homocephaly, or in this instance, Brontolothus, seem to be quite dull or just simply nubs at the base of their dome. So let's see. The majority of pachycephalosaurid species is known exclusively from cranial remains, and as such, the anatomy, functional morphology, and systematic importance of the parietal domes have received the most attention among paleontologists. The clade is exclusively known from the late Cretaceous of Asia and Western North America, with the latter hosting the more diverse assemblage of pachycephalosaurids. The oldest species from North America is the Santonian age Acrotholus odeti, and the group, so this is an older species of North American pachycephalosaur, and the group apparently diversified in the middle to late Campanian. So I'm guessing this is referring to somewhere between like 81 to 75 million years ago, with an abundance of currently recognized species. Two specimens now assigned to Brontothilus. Excuse me.
Bless you, maybe?
Yeah, thanks. Harmoni were unearthed in the Two Medicine Formation in Glacier County, Montana. This new species is the first pachycephalosaurid from the Two Medicine Formation. Oh, okay. That's actually kind of surprised me. I thought maybe we had found other species within this area. So this is good to note. Brontothilus harmoni's massive dome indicates that it was the third largest North American pachycephalosaurid. Phylogenetic analyses recover this new species distant from both Stegosaurus and Pachycephalosaurus. I would expect that from Pachycephalosaurus, but Stegosaurus, it sounds like it's very distantly related, which is interesting, thus refuting the hypothesis that this species constitutes any part of an ancestor descent series between Stegosaurus and Pachycephalosaurus. That is odd. I'm really surprised by that. And however, the new species not only increases understanding of pachycephalosaur morphology and diversity, but shows that this clade contained relatively large body sized species as early as the Middle Campanian. Yeah, that is interesting. The stegosaurs, not stegosaurs. I mean, they are somewhat related to them. Members, they were in a Ornithischian group as well. But the Pachycephalosaurs, very early on in their evolution, immediately gained large sizes for the Pachycephalosaur group. Now, they reached Pachycephalosaur size a bit later on in their evolution. That's pushing somewhere around 900 to maybe 1,100 pounds. That's pushing it for a Pachycephalosaurus, which was the largest species of Pachycephalosaur. But, they first evolved somewhere between 80 to 85 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. So, this was good to see. I thought it mentioned, um oh, okay. I thought they found 2 different species, that they found 5 specimens of them. That didn't hit me. That's really good to see. Pachycephalosaurs are not common to find. So, it's good to hear. Let's head to the next article. So from apnews.com, reviving this African game reserve meant catching and transporting hundreds of wild animals. Yeah, recently there's been a lot of relocations with different um, animal populations over in different parts of sub-Saharan Africa. So here they seem to be relocating a herd of wildebeest, specifically blue wildebeest. So this is good to see. But why though? So, conservationists secure a herd of wildebeest in a capture enclosure at Maputo National Park in Mozambique, Saturday, September 27, 2025, ahead of their relocation by truck to Behind National Park. Wonder where that is. Okay, so 50 years ago, Behind National Park in Mozambique was a wildlife haven.
It keeps seeming like it's saying behind.
Oh, Banheim. Okay. Teeming with herds of giraffe, buffalo, and antelope. Then it was stripped nearly bare by decades of civil war and unchecked poaching. And that's always interesting when that happens to these different areas over in sub-Saharan Africa, especially East or somewhat Southern Africa. I guess you could say Central Africa if you're talking about Angola or Republic of the Congo, where you actually have it, at least back in certain decades, it was completely fine. The animal populations were, if anything, recovering, and then everything just um, tore to pieces. But a project is underway to restore Benign to its former glory. Fences have been rebuilt and roads fixed. Finally, the trickiest part, bringing in the animals. Private conservationists working with the government of Mozambique have moved nearly 400 animals, zebra, wildebeest, and several species of antelope by truck to Benheim. They're gathering everybody. It's an attempt to restart a game reserve that is part of the Great Limpopo Transfrontier Park and a series of reserves in Mozambique, South Africa, and Zimbabwe that form a wildlife corridor and a key conservation area. I'm guessing they're referring to like the Limpopo, Greater Cougar, um, what's the other one over in Zimbabwe? Because the 3 countries are connected to each other, and Botswana is technically not too far away, but I don't believe it hits this exact area. Actually, no, it might. Zimbabwe is closer to a more northwestern region of Mozambique. Um, hmm. Okay, let's keep going. The animals that will restock Benhind came from the Maputo National Park, itself a success story after a similar rehabilitation 15 years ago. The process of getting the animals to Benhind was difficult and delicate. They were herded toward a large funnel-shaped enclosure with the helicopter. From there, they were guided up a ramp and into crates on the back of trucks for an 18-hour drive north. Wow! And all the operation took 12 days. Sheesh. And that must have been an intense operation too, because that must have been, um, obviously you're going to have animals that try to, move from or might try to move out of the capture corral. They don't want to get into that specific truck. The 385 animals were introduced into an 8 square mile sanctuary that will be increased in size until they have um, acclimatized fully and are ready to roam the larger parks, said Donald Sutton, head of operations and development at Banheim. We are contributing now to the biodiversity, the bigger biodiversity of Van High National Park, which hopefully means that slowly but surely, as the number of animals here increase, we will release them into the greater Van High National Park system. Our tourism will increase as well. Van Hine is the latest reserve identified for rehabilitation in Mozambique, which once boasted some of the region's richest wildlife resources, only for reserves to be left desolate by poaching, drought, and a bloody 15-year civil war between 1977 1992. Oh, actually, this period in time affected several countries over in sub-Saharan Africa, especially I think central and part of the southern region. And many game reserves had wildlife populations just plummet. So, Peace Parks Foundation works to restore cross border conservation areas in southern Africa and was involved in the animal relocation to Banhine. It is also spearheading a project to restock Mozambique's Zenave National Park, another reserve that's part of the Great Limpopo Transfrontier Park and was stripped of wildlife over the years. At Zenave, critically endangered black rhinos have been reintroduced after being moved from South Africa and are now the first black rhino population in Mozambique in decades. Whoa! Well, that's really good to hear. I actually thought there were already black rhinos there. I guess I was mixing them up for white rhinos. Peace Park said it has moved more than 18,000 animals to previously degraded conservation areas that are being revived. Whoa, that's a lot. That's very impressive. Um, Sutton said it took 2.5 years of backbreaking work to get Van Hine ready for wildlife again, but he now hopes to see herds migrating in and out of the reserve once more. I see the future of Van Hine being what it was over 50 years ago. They're definitely getting a lot done in this specific area. Um, Let's also hope that the poaching stays low. So, let's head over to a video. Okay, what's going on here? Seems like a couple of mongooses. Depending on where you are in Africa, there could be over 5 or 6 different species of mongoose in one ecosystem. That specific bird, that's Zazu from The Lion King, but it's not hitting me what he is. I think it's not hitting me.
Why is that thing playing dead?
There's relatives over in Asia. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a mongoose do this. I mean, mongooses do love their fair share of different species of insects. They'll go after small mammals, reptiles, amphibians. They're quite carnivorous. They'll go after mussels and clams, and different species of fish. So, moving on to the next article from CBSSSports.com. Wait, uh, hmm. Kangaroo crashes impact cycling race as Australian cyclist Jay Vine wins Tour Down Under. The Roos jumped onto the race course and knocked the winner and others off their rides. Okay, a bizarre accident in the first event of the 2026 UCI World Tour left cyclists and fans with one thought: only in Australia. In a turn of events that could literally only happen on one continent, Australian cyclist Jay Vine won the Tour Down Under after a kangaroo knocked him off his bicycle. Two large kangaroos ran onto the course with about 96 kilometers remaining in the final stage of the race. Vine and UAE team Emirates XRG teammate Michael Berg crashed into one of the animals after it hopped into the peloton. Berg and three other cyclists, Pimeno Huzing, Lucas Stevenson, and Alberto Danes, were knocked out of the race because of the crash. The kangaroo was also injured and visibly struggled to make its way out of the road. Vine exchanged bikes with a teammate and rejoined the peloton multiple kilometers down the road. The incident occurred during a high speed stretch of an 8 lap circuit outside of Adelaide. Oh, oh boy. So let's see what occurred here. Oh, there he is.
Wait a minute. Is it gonna do that?
Oh, oh, whoa. Oh, shucks.
I wanna see that again. I didn't
Yeah,
He doesn't
depending
come
on.
back?
No, I think it already occurred, unless it's
Why did it look like he has trouble moving?
yeah. I mean,
Maybe his foot got ran over by a bike?
he could have hit him at over 30 miles an hour. Like, kangaroo was probably moving much quicker than he was. We don't know how much that boss kangaroo weighed either. That's what you call a male kangaroo.
It's gotta show so it's just showing the guy now?
No, I think that's somebody else. No, I don't think it's going to show another. Oh, here's where it occurred. There he is.
Where?
Hold on. Let's go back. See it right there.
Oh, it whacked him. Oh, yeah, that's why he's having trouble hopping now.
I always notice over in these different cycling instances, um, everybody else just leaves him behind.
You gotta
What?
win.
Vine Vine entered stage 5 with a 103 lead over Switzerland's Mauro Schmid and won the tour by that exact margin despite the crash. He lost 4 of his 6 teammates throughout the tour because of multiple crashes, including the one with the Kangaroos. His team announced that Janotin Narvaez sustained several stable thoracic vertebrae compression fractures in one of those other accidents. Everyone.
So does the kangaroo carry insurance?
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of kangaroo insurance. He must. Everyone asks me what's the most dangerous thing in Australia, and I always tell them it's kangaroos. They wait and they hide in the bushes until you can't stop, and they jump out in front of you. Point proven today. 2 of them blasted through the peloton, and when we were doing probably 50 kph kilometers per hour, and one of them stopped and went left, right, left, right, left, right, and I ended up hitting its backside. Oh, that's it. Yeah, geesh. Well, um, let's just head on to the next video. Okay, what's going on here? I think this has occurred a couple years back. Yeah, they're just photographing wolves over in Greenland.
And they just don't care.
I think they've been around these wolves like since they were probably pups and watching the pack, and so the pack just got used to them. Yeah, they seem fairly fine, and they seem well fed too. So they're probably getting a steady supply of muskox in the region. I mean, at this point in time, they're probably not focusing on things like hares. They're also not getting any fat from the hares. What else could they be feeding on? Can't think of anything else in the region. Oh, oh yeah, this thing from a little way back. Yeah, this is a very healthy
Yeah,
male
don't
beaver.
try this at home.
Yeah, yeah,
It probably won't work out well for you.
yeah. I'm trying to think of specifically the diameter of their front incisors when it comes to American beavers. This probably didn't take him very long. Like me. Oh, it's already falling.
If I tried to do that, I don't think it would work.
Yeah, that would be a problem. So, the next article from Sci News. So let's travel back in time. Paleontologists discover new species of Triassic long-necked dinosaur. So it looks like we're traveling back in time at least 202 million years. Paleontologists have unearthed a new assemblage of Triassic fossils at the Quebrada Santo Domingo site of the Northern Precordillera Basin in northwestern Argentina. Their discoveries include a nearly complete skeleton of a previously unknown sauropodomorph dinosaur species, as well as several cynodonts, rhynchosaurs, and idosaurs. So here we definitely have okay, the cynodonts are proto mammals. So they're members of the synapsid lineage, whereas the rhynchosaurs and I think it said the idosaurs, these are different members of the archosauromorph lineage of animals. which would also branch off into the dinosaurs as well as the avian dinosaurs, the birds, and the pterosaurs too, crocodilomorphs. So, um,
That guy
I
looks really funny.
I'm trying to think. He looks like a certain movie character. It's not hitting me.
His head is way too big.
Yeah. Trying to think. You know what it looks like? A different version of like Scrappy Doo. I don't know. It's there's somebody else I can't think of.
Scrappy Dappy Doo.
Yeah, I'm glad you went extinct. And
Poor guy. Yeah.
I couldn't stand that character. Let's see. Um and then this guy over here is probably a Thrinaxodon, but that would have existed much earlier, like back in the late Permian Triassic boundaries, around 252 million years ago. So the newly discovered species lived in what is now Argentina during the Carnian age of the late Triassic epoch, about 230 million years ago. Named Huayracursor hogwensis, this dinosaur was an early and primitive member of the clade Sauropodomorpha. Let's see. The ancient animal had a considerably longer neck and was larger than most of its contemporaries. The Carnian age, between 237 to 227 million years ago, so this is a specific epoch during the Middle Triassic period, marks a crucial interval in tetrapod evolution, preserving the earliest records of several major clades, including dinosaurs. Following the Carnian pluvial episode, dinosaurs experienced significant radiation, rapidly establishing their dominance for the remainder of the Mesozoic era. Most early records come from a small number of well studied localities in South America in the Ishigualasto Huila Union Basin in western Argentina and the Parana Basin in southern Brazil. These sites have yielded diverse early dinosaurs, including ornithischians, herrerasaurids, theropods, and sauropodomorphs. Although the sauropodomorphs are the most taxonomically diverse, almost all were, with fragmentary exceptions, small, short necked bipedal forms. So, also when it comes to the sauropodomorph lineage, this is basically the family of dinosaurs that would lead on to the long necked sauropods that we would see first appear in the Jurassic around 175 to 180 million years ago. But this is over, I'd say, 50 million years beforehand. So let's see what's going on here. Um, These okay, so although the sauropodomorphs are the most taxonomically diverse, almost all were with oh, I already said that. Despite advances in our understanding of Carnian tetrapod faunas, no dinosaur-bearing assemblages have emerged outside traditional units. Whoa. Wow, they definitely found a major amount of this specific animal. Unfortunately, they didn't find much of the skull, but they still found a small piece or two. So that's good to see. So this is all of the Hyracursor, very well preserved foot, as well as what hands? Yeah, definitely over here as well. Very intact neck vertebrae. Yeah, the shin bone, the whole foot is, or the leg is complete here, along with the pelvis. Let's go back to the article. So Dr. Hessian Leitner and co-authors discovered the fossilized remains of Hyocursor hogwensis and several other Triassic animals in the Santo Domingo Formation at Quebraja, Santo Domingo, remote locality in the Adesava of La Rioja province, northwestern Argentina. This new fauna is the first to be recovered from the newly identified northern Precordillera Basin. Current findings include Hyperodepitontine rhynchosaurs, Traversodontid, and Probe- Probenognathine cynodonts, idosaurs, and at least two sauropodomorph dinosaurs, indicating a Carnian age. Yeah, wow. They've definitely found a lot of different types of archosaur within the region, and as well different species of proto mammals. Among sauropodomorphs, Hyracursor hagwensis provides the earliest evidence of synchronous body mass increase and neck elongation in Sauropodomorpha, suggesting that these key traits emerged at the dawn of the dinosaurs. Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of discoveries lately have been showing that early in the dinosaurs' evolution, and specifically with the sauropodomorph dinosaurs, prosauropods, they had already established very basic sauropodomorph traits like the longer neck, the longer forelimbs, also a bit of a larger size as well, and mostly feeding on different species of vegetation, probably smaller conifers, ferns at this time, maybe going after different types of cycads. Oh, so this finding expands the known diversity and geographic range of early dinosaur faunas and expands our understanding of sauropodomorph evolution in the Carnian age. That was really good to see. So let's head over to the next article from Canadian Geographic.ca. Unpacking the mystery of grizzly bears in Wapusk National Park. In the Hudson Bay lowlands, polar bears have reigned supreme. Increased sightings of a new predator have everyone on high alert. So, Wapusk National Park, I believe, is just south of Churchill, Manitoba.
Which is in Canada?
So it's just on the fringe of Hudson Bay, which, yes, which is in Canada. Manitoba is a province over in central Canada. So just west of Ontario and east of Saskatchewan. So here we have a barren ground grizzly bear, which is the subspecies of grizzly bear that inhabits this region. It's not new to the area. This isn't some new um, incomer just invading the land of the polar bear. It's always coexisted with the polar bear for quite some time. So let's see. So grizzly bear is photographed from a helicopter as it wades through a shallow pond in the Hudson Bay lowlands, probably like summertime. He seems pretty relaxed. Wonder what he's focused on hunting though. We're cruising low in a Bell 206 helicopter over Wapusk National Park in northern Manitoba, an area of vast peatlands. My eyes are fixed out the window, gazing down on the rusty peat, pale green lichen, and swamps edged with willow and spruce. The park is where the southern boreal forest collides with the northern Arctic tundra, where female polar bears haul out of the bay onto the western shoreline to burrow into the cool, spongy earth to give birth. Wapuscan, from the Cree word for white bear, protects one of the largest female polar bear denning areas in the world. But today, we aren't searching for the famous white bears of western Hudson Bay. We're looking for a more elusive species, a shapeshifter. One the Inuit from Arvietse can appear on the tundra and vanish in the same breath. We're searching for the bear the local Cree refer to as Kakenukushwilsau musqua, meaning brown bear with long claws, or Okistatuan, the humpbacked bear. The one the Sayasai Dane call Gotsase, the tundra bear. And the animal the Inuit have named Aklak, brown bear. It is the barren ground grizzly bear, subspecies of Ursus arctos horribilis, that ranges thousands of kilometers across Canada's Arctic and is similar and lighter in color than other grizzlies. And since they mentioned the names or who specifically mentioned or created those specific terms over in North America, the scientist Carl Linnaeus came up with the name Ursus arctos horribilis for the American grizzly bear. Specifically, we're looking for evidence of the bear's dens, part of a research project led by Douglas Clark, a human polar bear conflict specialist at the University of Saskatchewan. The project aims to unpack the mystery of grizzly bears in northern Manitoba. It's a species officially designated as extirpated in the province. So, which means that it's been completely eradicated. But they have been showing up in recent years. Started to become a bit more known for its presence, I guess, reintroduction to the area back in like 2017, 2018. The plains grizzly once roamed Canada's prairies in the tens of thousands, but was wiped clean from Manitoba as agriculture expanded and colonization changed the landscape. Now it appears as if a different subspecies is moving in. Barren ground grizzlies have been increasingly spotted in Wapusk since the mid 1990s. Oh, I didn't realize it's been that long. Interesting. I thought it was like the mid 2010s, and all of a sudden they started showing up. Clark is determined to find out if they're surviving and what their increasing presence could mean for the people and polar bears that share the landscape. Aboard the helicopter with us is local polar bear guide Morris Spence, whom Clark has invited along to lend his expertise to locating dens. The Hudson Bay lowlands is one of the only places in the world where polar bears, black bears, and grizzly bears coexist. But grizzly bears and polar bears are facing starkly different realities as Churchill. I don't know very much about like what specifically the black bears and grizzly bears are feeding on differently, especially when it comes to prey sources compared to the polar bears, since the polar bears for the most part are basically just biding their time and waiting out the summer and fall months over um, on western Hudson Bay until they decide they finally go back out onto the ice. So let's see. Uh, what's going on here? They're over in Wapusk. So Clark first spotted a grizzly in Wapusk National Park on June 6, 1998. As the newly established park's first chief warden, he had hitched a ride with the Coast Guard helicopter to the mouth of the Broad River for the season's first foot patrol, a 5-day trek to Nestor 1, a camp near Cape Churchill. As he glanced out the window, he saw a huge brown mass with a shaggy, loose coat galloping along a beach ridge. Funny, I don't see the horns on that muskox, was his first thought, though he knew full well that the last muskox in Hudson Bay had been shot and traded at York Factory in 1908. I did know that historically, um, that, well, okay, the more northern you are over in the Hudson Bay region, I could see muskox, but didn't realize that I think they were in Manitoba, definitely in the tundra region, not boreal forest. Let's see. We were in a big, loud Vietnam era Bell 212, and I had to hammer on the.
There. Floppy Rabbit said, "Don't polar bears eat everything?"
They can eat everything, but they don't actively hunt animals like muskox. I haven't seen any even reported sightings of that occurring. And when it comes to going after reindeer, it seems so far they only go after like, and this also refers to the Svalbard population of polar bears, the Svalbard reindeer, which are the smallest subspecies of reindeer on Earth. They might reach around 180 pounds or a little over um,
Wait,
85
you're saying they
kilograms.
do hunt them or they don't?
No, they do. They tend to do the best when it comes to drowning them. They're not Polar bears are not great at stalking reindeer. Though I think in certain parts of northern Alaska or even Canada, they might go after reindeer, but they're so far away from the reindeer when they finally start running. It's um, yeah, they're not the best at creeping up on them, and it's not that they don't necessarily have camouflage available to them. They're just bad at ambush, at least when it comes to specifically reindeer. They don't hunt really moose or bison, but they don't really have any access to bison wherever they are. And I haven't heard of any also actively hunting brown bears either, or even black bears. So they really like to stick to their whale, fish in some cases, and seal diet. And occasionally they might feast on um, maybe, what am I thinking of? Belugas. So let's see. We swooped down and none of us could believe our eyes. It was a huge grizzly bear, so fat we could see the flesh rolling on his hindquarters. After that fateful day, stories about grizzlies in the region began to find their way to Clark. He became known locally as the grizzly bear guy, and the mystery of that well fed bear along the Hudson Bay coastline followed him into his career in academia. So let's take a deeper look. In 2010, by then working at the University of Saskatchewan as a professor, Clark was asked by Parks Canada to analyze trail camera images of polar bears at research sites throughout Wapusk. When he reviewed the footage, he was shocked to once again see the unmistakably humped shoulder of a grizzly bear. Okay, let's see if there was anything else. Okay. So the grizzly was fat and healthy. The image taken in early May suggested the bear could be dining nearby. As Clark's work continued in Wapusk, he began to see the same bear in the same location year after year, nicknaming it the King of Wapusk. And the king still lives. It was last spotted in April 2023 on one of the remote cameras Clark set up at research sites in the park. Hmm. They've been doubling in Manitoba when it comes to the sightings of grizzlies every decade since the 80s. That's quite interesting. Analyzing trail cameras is just one part of Clark's works. Another is logging reported sightings. His research stems from the fundamental belief that local people know bears. Let's see. Just looking to see if there's that anything else they got about the brown bears in the region. Yeah, so this is that specific area in Canada where both the black bears, brown bears, and the polar bears coexist, but they are feeding on different types of food. Now, certain species of berries, they're all three are probably feeding on maybe certain types of flowers or maybe even mosses in the region. So let's see. I remember. Okay, so Trim had a first encounter of her own while flying in a twin otter in 2007. We're seeing polar bears from above and almost out of habit. I looked down and said, "Oh, is that polar bear ever dirty?" As we got closer, I was like, "Wait a minute, that's a grizzly bear." Intrigued, she began to document reports of grizzlies from locals out on the land. I wrote down 36 observations over 16 years. That's averaging a couple a year. We are legitimately getting more grizzly bear sightings. So let's see. I remember thinking we might get 100 observations of grizzlies, but we actually mapped out 168 reported sightings with 133 confirmed observations. The majority of the sightings are of individual bears thought to be males, and while there's one observation of a female with cubs and another of a lone cub, without verified photographic evidence, they're considered unconfirmed. So this is a key point. Until there's proof of family group or grizzly bears breeding Manitoba, they'll remain on the extirpated list. So let's see. Most of the sightings have been within 1 kilometer of the coastline or half a mile. Wow. And all of the bears have been healthy weights. That is quite interesting. I was expecting them to be much further inland. They're literally on the coast. Now, on his second aerial den survey, he's determined to document proof that grizzly bears are residing within the boundaries of the province. Last summer, Clark found two dens that could have been dug by grizzly bears. One was facing away from a lake, a telltale anomaly given that polar bears typically den facing the water. One of the dens was saturated with long brown hairs. I guess this might be a den that they're looking at. Yeah, they're both assessing grizzly den. Hold on a second. I got a feeling this is a very long article. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll hop back onto this later, but let's head over and see what else is going on around the world. Just it's still really fascinating what's going on here with the bears over in Manitoba. So, from the GreekReporter.com, the return of the apex predator, wolves enter Greece's urban frontier. Well, this isn't necessarily surprising considering we know that Greece has had a very low population of red deer, roe deer that are also native to the region, but their populations are barely somewhere between 2 to 4,000 each. And even the fallow deer, which are technically not native, but they're quite low in population as well. So the wild boars, though, are extremely prevalent in the region, but the wolves just don't seem to be in the mood for pork at the moment. Well, wild pork. So, for decades, the Greek wolf was a creature of remote mountains pushed to the fringes of Greece's mountain ranges. However, a series of startling encounters recently has signaled a dramatic shift in the country's wildlife dynamics. The wolf has officially entered the urban fabric of Greece's two largest cities, sparking a tense debate over conservation and public safety. That's quite interesting. So, I'm guessing they're over showing up in different parts of Athens. Wow. Okay, so that's a pack right outside of somebody's door. That's quite something. So, we're outside a house in Panorama, Thessaloniki. Hmm. The recent wave of
I don't think I wanna walk outside and see that.
yeah, that's quite something. The recent wave of urban wolf sightings has shocked residents in Greece from Macedonia to Attica. In Panorama, Thessaloniki, stunning video footage recently captured wolves reaching the doorsteps of residential homes, highlighting how comfortable predators have become in high end suburban settings. The alarm has moved south to the capital as well. In western Athens, the neighborhoods of Hadari and Agelio have seen a spike in activity. Perhaps the most distressing report occurred in Agelio, where a wolf attacked a domestic dog just 100 meters or 328 feet from a school. There are no longer isolated incidents of stray animals. They represent a bold expansion of territory into densely populated zones. Wow. So yeah, they're in the midst of the streets. I swear there's another area where this is occurring, but maybe I'm just thinking of those aggressive wolves over in Estonia.
Is that Russian?
No, that's Greek. Yeah, I understand what you're thinking of, but no, that's let's see. The perfect storm of urban encroachment, the wolf in Greece. Experts point to several ecological drivers for this migration. It's funny showing we've got wolves that are looking for livestock, and then a commercial pops up, serving up world flavors. Oh, brought to you by
I don't know, the wolves might like it.
Macedonian wolves. Yeah, the wild boar connection. An explosion in the wild boar population has acted as a food bridge, leading wolves from the mountains directly into suburban fringes. Devastating forest fires in the Attica region have destroyed traditional hunting grounds, forcing packs to scavenge in human dominated landscapes. Yeah, that didn't hit me. A couple years back, you had it where Greece was having quite bad wildfires. I didn't check specifically on the rainfall, but that's going to have an effect on all the animals in the region and their movements. So, with this, you're going to have it where packs are going to massively alter where their specific territories are going to be. So let's see. Forcing packs to scavenge in human dominated landscapes. Wolves have learned that urban environments offer easy calories in the form of unsecured trash, pet food, and stray animals. The sightings have triggered warnings from authorities and local municipalities, urging residents to secure waste and avoid walking pets after dark. While the wolf is a protected species under EU law, a status that successfully brought the species back from the brink of extinction, its presence near schools results in a palpable sense of fear. Conservationists argue that calling is not the answer, as it can disrupt pack hierarchies and lead to more erratic behavior. Organizations like Callisto, among the leading organizations for large carnivore management in Greece, stress that while the sight of a wolf is shocking, the animals are usually scavenging, not hunting people. I'd still be careful. Wolf appearances in urban centers are rare and usually linked to easy food sources. Yeah, like small people. While we urge caution and suggest residents avoid approaching the animals, we must understand that a wolf in a city is looking for trash or stray animal, not a human encounter. Yeah,
That
I'd be
reminds me of
careful
the
with that.
wolf took my baby. The dingo took my baby.
Yeah, yeah, especially non-immobile people. Let's see. Wolves' protected status should not be downgraded. Recently, 20 Greek environmental organizations, including WWF, Greece, Arcturus, that's bear, means bear, and Hellenic Ornithological Society signed a joint letter to the EU and the Greek government. They are fighting against the 2025 decision to downgrade the wolf status from strictly protected to simply protected. I don't know what that means. Protecting the wolf in Europe is not only a matter of ecological importance, but a reflection of our commitment to values of coexistence. The return of the wolf is a conservation success that must not be jeopardized by political pressure. I'm guessing what it means by strictly protected is that if you kill one of these things, then you go to jail for decades. And then if it's just protected, then it's either a small amount of time or you're just fined a certain amount. That's my guess. It's insane. Um, Arcturus and Anima argue that human wildlife conflict is often the result of human behavior. They point to the habituation of wolves. Let's see. We don't have a wolf problem as much as we have a waste management and wild boar problem. We also have a lack of deer problem. Surprised it's not mentioning that. Should we take a look at what's going on here? Oh, that's quite blurry. Oh, oh,
Just hopping down the street.
yeah. I kind of wonder if he's looking for cats. Maybe he's sniffing out.
It'd be kinda hard for him to catch a cat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe he's I mean, depends, he can sneak up on one, but maybe he's just looking for gyros.
Can't see him anymore. There, there. Okay.
Oh, that was it. I think there was another one further up. Hmm. Oh, right, this thing.
Oh, that was weird.
Oh, there's 4 of them. It's probably more.
That would be scary.
Yeah, I think the wolves in this region, they get to about, like, 80, 85 pounds or somewhere around, 40 kilograms. Not as fluffy as wolves further north. That's just simply also due to the climate and habitat that they exist in. They don't need to be. So, let's head over to the next video. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Not sure if they're alert or they're just extremely excited.
This is funny. Wait, are we watching it again? They just look so happy.
Yeah, they seem somewhat relaxed. This was somewhere in central Texas.
Look, uh,
Oh yeah, these occasions. Yeah, it's quite interesting how coyotes and badgers have a bit of a symbiotic relationship. Looks like the badger leads the coyote to certain areas. It's
yeah, it's like, "Follow me."
huh, wonder what they were headed towards. Okay, well, it's the next article from Yahoo.com. The dilemma facing Australia's koala conservationists. Too many koalas. Well, that's quite interesting. I wonder if they're referring to a specific part of Australia. Oh, okay. Well, there's a mother and her Joey. They seem quite concerned, but also relaxed at the same time. A booming population of koalas in parts of South Australia has sparked a dilemma among conservationists about their long term ecological harm to the region. Koalas are officially endangered in several parts of Australia, especially the east coast, due to widespread habitat loss, with estimates varying between 729,000 to 918,000. Wow. I actually thought there were fewer of these koalas, but I'm guessing a lot of their native range, there's just a low population in these different areas. And I'm guessing a large percentage, unfortunately, is just in a couple of specific areas in what sounds like South Australia. So moving forward, however, the marsupials concentration are unusually high in some places, such as South Australia's Mount Lofty ranges, which is home to about 10% of the country's total koala population. Researchers caution in a new study that this koala boom, localized to these places, could increase strain on these regions and undermine the population's long term stability. Koalas are in steep decline across much of eastern Australia, but in South Australia's Mount Lofty ranges, the opposite problem is happening: a booming koala population. This should be good news, but these numbers are concerning. Oh, so here they are again. If koalas are not managed in these parts of southern Australia, their populations could grow by an additional 17 to 25% over the next 25 years, intensifying pressure on food sources, vegetation, and surrounding ecosystems. Many areas now have koala densities far beyond what the ecosystem can sustain. The next few decades following this trajectory, there will almost certainly be a terrible situation of mass koala starvation and death. Koala densities in many parts of the region already exceed sustainable limits. We are faced with a difficult conservation dilemma because traditional methods of population management, like culling or relocation, culling means killing or euthanizing them, either raise ethical concerns from the public or are not appropriate for such an iconic native animal. Hmm. The question is, how could you relocate these animals in high density or in high amounts? The latest study used advanced computer modeling to explore ways to curb the koala boom in these areas. It showed that treating about 22% of adult female koalas each year would be enough to keep population growth in check. Wait a second. Does that mean making it so they don't have the ability to breed?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. And I don't know how you do that with 22% of them.
Well, you also have low populations in areas further north, several areas. Uh, to achieve this, they estimated it could cost about $24 million over a 25-year period. Fertility control focusing on adult females emerged as the most cost-effective AUD 34M strategy. Yeah, sure. It's all about being cost effective, not that it's going to help the koala in general. This amount is much less than one fifth of the Australian government's investment in wildlife recovery following the 2019 to 2020 Black Summer bushfires. Hmm. I don't know where specifically that occurred. Wait, was there more? No, that was it. Yeah, I promote the relocating of these specific koalas, mm, not doing the fertility control. That's just deranged. Okay, let's head over to the next article. Well, not just deranged, just you've got koala populations further north that need the help. So, from Earth.com, hidden salt shortages are changing animal behavior in Africa. Okay, well, this is an interesting one. I wonder what's going on here. Across multiple sites in sub Saharan Africa, so basically the savanna region, researchers have identified a relationship between large herbivores and the amount of sodium available in local plants. According to the study, plant sodium availability spans a 1,000 fold range across sub Saharan Africa for large herbivores such as elephants, giraffes, rhinos. The team compared plant sodium levels with animal counts and with results of fecal analyses. When plants run low, the largest herbivores face shortages that can influence habitat choice and risky travel routes. That's interesting. I didn't expect to hear about sodium deficiencies in these different plants over in sub Saharan Africa. It's kind of funny. Sodium acts as an electrolyte, a charged mineral that moves signals in body fluids and tissues during movement and rest. Muscles, nerves, and kidneys use it constantly, so grazing animals need fresh sodium every day from food or water resources. The work was led by Andrew J. Abraham at Northern Arizona University, and he studies how minerals steer wildlife across landscapes. Abraham's research tracks where animals find key nutrients and how those searches intersect with land use and conservation policy. Sodium is essential for animals, yet most plants can grow without it in their cells or sap. Near coasts, sea spray in the air and salty groundwater can raise sodium in leaves, while heavy rains can wash it away inland. Yeah. Dry basins, floodplains, and certain rocks can create small sodium hotspots that animals learn to revisit season after season. This patchy supply means a landscape can look lush, but still fail to meet the mineral needs of giants over time. So, okay, I think this is going to about to get into what's going on. To map sodium and forage, the team compiled thousands of plant samples from many regions and used computer models to fill gaps. They paired those maps with wildlife census records, so each protected area had both plant chemistry and animal numbers over time. Species occurred or offered a reality check because sodium that is missing in the diet leaves a clear signature in waste. When dropping showed low sodium, it usually matched low sodium plants nearby, tying diet quality to geography for each herd. Yeah, I really do wonder what the sodium intake of like different populations of elephants over in different parts of Africa are, even the rhino populations, zebras, the wildebeest, the giraffes. So this really is a big question. So the pattern was strongest in mega herbivores, plant eaters over about 2,200 pounds or 1 ton or about 1,000 kilograms, which have big bodies to maintain every single day. A larger animal needs more sodium for blood volume and nerve function, yet it may not eat enough leaves in one area. Pregnancy and nursing can push sodium demand higher. That didn't hit me for a moment. That can be a lot, especially for an elephant or a mammal that's carrying several offspring in her, um, not pouch, but tummy. So females maybe not not her stomach. It's that specific bag. It's not hitting me. So females may be the first to feel a shortage during dry spells. Why does a giant herbivore care about sodium more than a smaller antelope does in practice on the ground? Some herbivores practice geophagy, eating soil to get minerals, when plants alone cannot cover their sodium needs. You know, they're eating too much dirt. That can cause a massive problem for their digestive system. Many animals visit natural salt licks, places where minerals collect on the ground, and they may wait their turn, trade shoves, and expose themselves to predators while they feed in the open. These sodium trips may pull herds across farms and roads, so the search for salt can raise human tension fast. Though there are certain populations of elephants, especially I think adjacent to certain forests, I don't even believe they're forest elephants. I think they're bush elephants. Go amongst these different caves and will extract certain pieces of salt. I'm not sure how often they go over to these caves. They also tend to do it at night to extract the salt as well. West Africa holds rich forests and savannas, yet some of its biggest herbivores appear in lower numbers than expected in many surveys. But West Africa doesn't have very high populations of herbivores at the moment. But I wonder if what they're saying is that even with like certain areas seem to have larger populations, they seem to at least be a bit lower at the moment. I guess due to the lack of salt, possibly. The new analysis suggests many West African plants provide too little sodium, which may cap populations before hunting even begins there. Low soil fertility and habitat loss still matter, but mineral shortages could make recovery harder after any decline begins. If salt sources lie far apart, a herd may need long corridors to move without crossing high risk human areas at night. Mega herbivores act as ecosystem engineers, animals that physically reshape habitats by knocking down trees and opening paths for others. Their dung and urine move nutrients across miles, and their feeding can limit brush that fuels intense fires during drought years. It's only in specific habitats, though. If you're referring to certain areas of the Namib Desert, this wouldn't really be the case. Even certain parts of Botswana or South Africa in the Kalahari Desert. When giants, but it also seems like we're referring to West Africa, which is a different savanna ecosystem, even compared to different parts of Eastern Africa. So, when giants thin out, smaller grazers may increase, but they do not topple trees or dig water holes the same way alone. Because plants reflect local salt input, sodium can shape which animals dominate, and this shapes the landscape in return. Humans concentrate salt at wells, livestock licks, and winter roads, creating tempting patches inside otherwise low sodium regions for wildlife. Animals following those patches can end up near crops, towns, or traffic, and conflicts rise when people feel threatened more often. One study linked roadside salt pools to higher moose use near highways in eastern Canada. I always wondered about that if specifically the salt that's put out to help thaw the roads would attract animals like elk, moose, especially animals that need more salt for growing their antlers.
Isn't that a different type of salt, though?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I don't know what type of a salt that specifically is.
Someone's they put something on it, the blue.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I need to look into that. Moving salt storage, draining pools, or changing plowing practices can reduce attraction, but solutions must fit local weather and budgets each year and budgets each year. So salt maps can help planners predict where elephants and rhinos may travel and where new fences could block them suddenly. Protected areas in low sodium zones may need wider buffer lands, so animals can reach natural licks without leaving safety too often. Adding salt can support animals, but it may also crowd them together, spread disease, and damage nearby vegetation. Monitoring droppings for minerals can also offer an early warning, since nutrition often changes before population counts drop sharply. The researchers note that some parts of Africa still lack plant sampling, so maps improve as new field data arrive steadily. Sodium in leaves can change with seasons and soils, and lab methods differ, so trends matter more than exact numbers alone. As climate patterns alter wind and rainfall, salt delivery may also change, and animals could respond in unexpected ways quickly. Better tracking collars, improved soil surveys, and more dung testing can turn this mineral story into practical forecasts for managers. Okay, so we really still don't know exactly what's going on with the salt. So this was still a big question. Okay, so let's head over to the next video. See what's going on here. Oh, it seems to be somewhere in northern India, and there's a greater one-horned rhino with. Oh, that's a newborn calf. He must not be much more than a week or two old. He's extremely tiny. Yeah, look at him.
I just thought it was cute.
She's probably focused on just feeding on the different species of lily pads in the region, but also different species of grasses further over. Hmm. What's going on here? Seems to be a couple wild boars with
Piglets.
several of their youngsters. Oh, there's more.
They just look so happy.
It's a very lush area too. I wonder where this is occurring.
Uh, And
Maybe Finland,
uh, mm, okay, one more.
except they're very rare in Finland. It's like a 1,000, 2,000 of them. Oh,
I just wanted to go for a swim.
yeah, she's just taking her time.
Uh, And the others
It's
are
in
looking
one
at
of
it going,
those.
"What are you
I'm
doing?"
not sure if it's a creek or one of those ditches.
Uh, I wonder if she got trapped.
Mm,
Like she doesn't realize she could just walk out, or is she just having fun? But she's a totally different color. She doesn't look like she's part of that herd.
No, she seems to be with the ones further back, but I wonder if it's somewhere in England. Just judging by the landscape, they're all quite curious.
Yeah, they're like, "What are you doing down there?"
Yeah, maybe she is stuck.
Hmm.
Okay, so traveling back in time from Sci News, mastodons were far more genetically diverse than previously known. Ancient DNA tests show. So this could be, over 2 million years ago, back in the beginning of the Pleistocene or the Ice Age. So, ancient DNA has been useful in reconciling deep evolutionary relationships and responses to ecological changes in elephants and their relatives. In new research, scientists sequenced the mitochondrial genomes of several mastodons, five from Nova Scotia and the eastern seaboard, one of which may date to approximately 500,000 years ago. And for the first time, a unique specimen of a specific Pacific mastodon from Tualatin, Oregon, in addition to partial mitochondrial genome from Northern Ontario. Basically, when it comes to the American mastodons, which are distinct from the mammoths, they both fed on different types of vegetation sources, and mastodons were on average much shorter than the mammoths, even when it comes to smaller species of mammoth, unless you're talking about pygmies. Now, mastodons basically covered area from different parts of South America up to different areas of Canada and possibly even certain populations over in Alaska. But the mammoths would have focused on much more open woodland or grasslands, whereas the mastodons would have focused on purely different types of forests, maybe inhabiting different types of swamps. So let's see. The results show that Pacific mastodons fall within a deeply divergent mitochondrial group, extending the range of this species into Western Canada and potentially Mexico. So Ontario is over in Eastern Canada, but I guess it's referring to different populations of American mastodons over in maybe different parts of British Columbia, Alberta. You also would have had it where during different glacial maximums, so in different periods of the ice age, where the glaciers would be at a much larger extent or a shorter extent, but the point in time that I'm referring to is the shorter extent of the glaciers. You would have had areas where the mastodons could migrate through, or even the mammoths, the rhinos, bison, well, not cave lions in this instance, but maybe different populations of hyenas. Cave lions over in different parts of Eurasia, but not necessarily North America. You had American lions at this point over in different parts of like the western United States. So let's see. The authors also found evidence for at least three separate expansion events into northeastern coastal regions and identified two new mastodon groups, which contain distinct but geographically um, localized specimens. Yeah, so as you can see, the mastodon also has a bit more of a shorter sort of a head compared to especially bush elephants or any elephant today, but especially the mammoths. Also, its overall physique pretty much lined up with its whole body, or at least when it comes to the height. And mastodons didn't reach much more than 8 feet at the shoulder, or pushing a little over 2.5 meters. But they still could weigh over 11 tons in some instances. So these weren't necessarily small bruisers. Let's see. Adult mastodon consuming a spruce branch. It is very likely that mastodons could have potentially fed on different species of spruce, but they were definitely going after different species of aspen. During this time, a wide range of deciduous trees. Spruce might have been in terms or in instances where there was a bit of a shortage of other food in the region, but they also would have fed on different species of fruit. Mastodons were initially split into numerous separate species, but later consolidated back into a single one, the American mastodon or Mammut americanum. More recently, this classification has been revised to potentially include at least two distinct species, the American mastodon and the Pacific mastodon, Mammut pacificus. Although a debate over the split has persisted. I didn't know that. I have only heard of specifically the American mastodon. I haven't heard of the Pacific mastodon. Um, any other type of mention of another type of mastodon, I would have potentially just have thought that it was just a different subspecies, but not a different species. So this is a big deal. The genetic analyses confirmed the Pacific mastodons belong to a very old, well established, and separate genetic branch with a range that extended much farther than previously believed, reaching deep into the Pacific Northwest and possibly south to Mexico and as far north as Alberta. Oh, Pacific mastodon specifically. Okay. So if it's another specific species, this is quite impressive. Interestingly, Alberta appears to have been a hotspot where Pacific and American mastodons congregated, expanded northward, and may have interbred. So Alberta is over in Western Canada. The East Coast and Northern Ontario specimens revealed two new and distinct genetic groups known as clades of mastodons living in the same region but at different times. The eastern species were surprisingly diverse, arriving in distinct waves of migration at least three times, a pattern driven by repeated cycles of climate warming, leading to glacial melting and the opening of new territory for northward expansion. This would have occurred several times throughout the Pleistocene epoch. When climate cooled and glaciers expanded, mastodons were driven south or went locally extinct. The data shift our view of the region today known as Alberta and the North more generally, from a marginal roaming ground to repeatedly occupied migratory corridor and significant landscape for mastodons with possible interbreeding. The researchers also pinpointed a mysterious and genetically distinct Mexican mastodon lineage, which they believe could be a deeper branch of the Western species, the Pacific mastodon pacificus, or possibly an entirely new third mastodon species. Wait, third. Oh, so so the American mastodon, Mexican mastodon. Oh, I guess I forgot about this specific individual. So the Pacific mastodon pacificus would be the third species. It's quite astounding. So the mastodon was among the largest land-living land animals on Earth during the Ice Age, roaming from Beringia, present-day Alaska, and the Yukon east to Nova Scotia and south to central Mexico. They reached down to South America as well. They were primarily browsers, living in swampy settings, eating shrubs and low hanging tree branches, and occupied a very different habitat from their distant cousins. The Ice Age iconic woolly mammoths, which
Did you
roam.
just have trouble saying habitat?
No, they wrote habitant. Like, what on earth? The Ice Age iconic woolly mammoths, which roamed on open grasslands and tundra. Well, also, the woolly mammoths really inhabited the northern regions of maybe like the New York, Maine area when referring to the United States, not including Alaska. They were covering Alaska, but different parts of Canada as well as northern Asia and different parts of Europe. So, further south, especially in North America, well, you also had the steppe mammoth too, but later on, which this would be a descendant of the woolly mammoth, and the steppe mammoth would be the Columbian mammoth, which coexisted with these different mastodon species. Now, the Columbian mammoth could reach over 13 feet in height or 4 meters and probably weigh somewhere around 13 to 15 tons. So it was one of the largest mammoths to exist. Let's see. This study represents several firsts, which includes our work on the Pacific mastodon. It also poses many new questions. For example, how did these distant species of mastodon interact in Alberta? Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see. Did they compete for resources or did they interbreed as our lab has previously shown for mammoths? These new findings, combined with those reported in the team's 2020 study, create a much more complete picture of how mastodons moved and diversified across North America. So, that is really fascinating to what we're seeing with these different populations of mastodons coexisting with each other, or these different species specifically, and probably feeding on slightly different species of vegetation as well. I'm guessing they're going to look somewhat different. I mean, even different subspecies of animals can have quite different overall physique to them. Even their fur, if their overall muscle or just simply anatomy is quite similar, then a lot of the time, like at least their fur structure can look somewhat different. Maybe even the coloration might be distinct as well. So that was interesting. Let's head over to the next article. Um, Watch as rogue kangaroo takes out cyclist and causes crash and tour down under. Did we already do
Did I
this?
do this twice?
Um, oh well. Yeah, I think it's the same one. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So from azcentral.com, bighorn sheep found safety in an Arizona copper mine. Now they're moving to a wilder home. They'll pop up. Spanning over 60,000 acres, the Morenci Copper Mine in eastern Arizona, one of the largest open pit mines in the world, produces hundreds of millions of tons of copper ore each year. But the steep slopes of the mine have also served as an unexpected breeding ground for one of the state's most iconic mountain wildlife species. Herds of Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep roam the massive complex, the steep sides of the mine offering a haven safe from predators. But if their numbers grow too high, they could become a nuisance. So state wildlife managers are taking action. Wait, what? Um, well, I hope it's a large enough population. In August, the Arizona Game and Fish Department relocated 8 bighorn sheep from the Morenci mine to the Upper Blue River, where they were released to join an established herd. The state agency worked closely with the mine operator, Phoenix based Freeport McMoran, to safely remove the sheep from the area to prevent dangerous accidents caused by traffic or mining operations. I was concerned. I really thought they were about to just start shooting the individuals. We're moving sheep from Marenkai Mine, and then we're enhancing or augmenting other populations of Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep within the state. So the 8 sheep join the approximately 50 sheep that have been moved to the Upper Blue River from the mine since 2021. Oh, so they've been continuously relocating them for a few years. I was wondering maybe the herd had already been there for quite a period of times, but apparently it's a new herd coming from this same region. So let's see, anything else? Oh, the translocation is also beneficial to the 24-hour mine operation because it prevents traffic accidents and interruptions to work activities. Freeport McMoran works closely with Arizona Fish and Game and Fish to help ensure the safety of both the community and wildlife near our Morenci operations. So, oh, relocating Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep is an important step to reduce potential risks to both the animals and the public. Their presence near active mine operations and along U.S. Highway 191 can lead to vehicle collisions and other safety hazards. So, by the Arizona Desert Bighorn Sheep Society, there he goes. So that seems like a healthy ram, and he's got a radio tracking collar on him. Oh, are there more? I wonder if it shows more underneath. Oh, he's just sedated. Okay, so there seems to
They
be.
look imprisoned.
Yeah, I think that's a ewe with him, or a female sheep. No, well, that's a. Okay, these are younger rams. They seem okay. I'm
I think
guessing it's.
somebody's out cold.
Yeah, he's definitely out of it. Yeah, so he's being released. Is there anything else? Oh, okay. So let's see. Uh, okay, so supposedly historically, there might have been 2 million bighorn sheep. That's it? Well, I mean, I'm not saying that's necessarily. Well, it does sound like a small amount, but it's just that there's that whole um what is that? Like claim that there could have been as many as 60 million American bison roaming North America. That just seems a bit of a high number, considering you would have to take other populations of animals into account, like elk, moose, pronghorn, mule deer, white-tailed deer, and as well as these bighorn sheep, mountain goat populations, along with the predators. So I just think it's a bit over exaggerated with how many bison there used to be. I also do wonder though, even with like Ice Age or Pleistocene megafauna numbers, like how many Columbian mammoths and American mastodons, Pacific mastodons would coexisted with each other, along with like woodland bison populations. Let's see. About 6,000 bighorn sheep live in Arizona, weighing up to 340 pounds or a little over 170 kilograms. The bighorn rams are known for their stature and large curling horns, which can grow over 3 feet in length or about a meter. Along with adding to the natural quality of the state's mountain landscapes. Okay, it's just talking about shooting the sheep. So let's see. Uh, Winter estimates that. Oh, wait a second. While the bighorn sheep move freely into the mine, their natural predators like mountain lions avoid the area, allowing their population to grow unchecked. Oh, okay. This doesn't hit me. Yeah, the mountain lions just stay away from the quarry. Winter estimates that about 200 sheep have been moved by Arizona Game and Fish since working with the mine in 2006. Wow, quite a few. Two herds of bighorn sheep in Arizona, one near Winslow and the other near Greer.
Do we eat bighorn sheep?
Some people do, but I would think it would taste slightly different from regular domestic sheep breeds. Were both started using sheep moved from Morenci. In 2023, about 30 sheep from the mine were relocated to Antelope Island near Salt Lake City to help bolster herds in Utah. So over in Antelope Island State Park in the middle of the Salt Lake. So there's also like a herd of, I think, 400 to 500 bison in the area.
How big is that place?
I think it's like 40 square miles or a little over, what, 80 square kilometers. So it's mostly, I think there are only like, I don't know, 7 to 10 trees in the whole island. So, yeah, mostly it's just sagebrush, plains area. There weren't really. I think there might have been historically pronghorn on the island. There are pronghorn there, possibly a handful of mule deer, but basically everybody else was relocated to the island back in the 1890s, or um, yeah, to help with I think boosting the remaining bison population,
In the
and
1890s?
I think so. I think it's when it started. Yeah. And, yeah, bighorn sheep. I think the coyotes are there as well, but there aren't any bears or wolves on the island. It's also, I mean, you have where it's, like, a large urban area just cuts any animals migrating except maybe coyotes or the occasional mule deer from getting there. Anyway, let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, that's it. The 8 sheep so relocated from Marenkai, 7 were male, 1 was female. Wildlife managers plan to relocate at least 2 more female sheep after they finish nursing their young. I think that might be, yeah. So, on to the final article. Oh, wait. On to the next video. That's fake.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes. Yeah, Galapagos tortoises are not native to Africa, and hyenas wouldn't be this friendly. Oh, that's a tough tortoise, too.
That's a Galapagos tortoise?
Yeah.
Huh, okay. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, this is taking quite a few years back. Yeah, it was 2016. This is not a pleasant.
This is not the parent you would want.
Nope. Yeah, these storks are. Yeah. They actually migrate down to Southern Africa and then back to Central Europe throughout the year, but this is.
Uh,
Yeah. Unfortunately, the natural parenting behavior of these storks. Okay, so on to the final article from KKCO11news.com. Moose rescued from canal in Estes Park. So we're over in central Colorado. So over on the Rocky Mountain front. Usually Estes Park is where you tend to hear of elk, not so much moose. So this is interesting. Crews worked to save a moose that fell in a canal in Estes Park on October 2nd. Crews had to use ropes to keep the animal's head above the water and a crane to eventually lift it out. Well, you're talking about like a 1,200 pound or 500 kilogram animal. And it's probably during the fall, considering his antlers are fully shed. So the Bureau of Reclamation and Colorado Parks and Wildlife worked together to help save the moose. Officials said the animal only suffered minor injuries. Wildlife officers also said they used tranquilizers just to be safe.
I thought shed was when they lost their antlers.
Oh, okay. He fully shed the velvet. And then afterwards, depending on how well the ecosystem is, like definitely January, they tend to have their antlers shed. So immediately you start seeing those little nubs growing on the top of their head. Let's see what occurred here. What do I have a feeling is just going to. Oh, that's nice.
Show him pulling him out. Did they
uh,
blind him?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
Somewhat keeping calm. Yeah, wow. That's pretty impressive.
Oop, seriously?
Well, I'm glad they got that bull Shiros moose out of that canal. Guessing there wasn't anywhere near him to like for him to just safely get ashore. That's interesting. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. This is. Oh, I think this is one of his elephants.
Yeah, that's what it said. It's a rescue center.
Oh, it is?
I think
Yeah.
that's what it said. He's like, "You're not leaving. Stay and play." Hold on, let me see if I'm right. Yeah.
Huh. I mean, maybe it's towards the entrance of one of those larger sanctuaries. Okay, well, thanks for joining. And from Prehistoric to Present, my name is Ethan. Thanks for watching Creature Guy Live Daily News. Remember to like, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share the show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals.